Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And my name's Jake LeCure. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Joel is away today. He will be back with us tomorrow. Markets here pretty quiet overnight, actually. We've had just a 6 point range. We've been as high as 1650, 650. We've been as low as 1650 and a half. So tight range. We're trading right in the middle of this range at 1653 and a quarter. Jake, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you, man?
Well, not too bad. Just obviously looking for a little more volatility. Us as traders usually like to see volatility, and yesterday was on. We had a nice rally going in the S&P futures there yesterday. Do you think this rally can follow through here today?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what we see from Syria, I think. I mean, you got some great auto numbers yesterday, which really got things running. You had the ISM number earlier before that. But I think maybe the markets are going to start paying attention more to this Syrian conflict, with the Senate approving the possible action yesterday. I mean, it looks like we're on the fast track for that, perhaps having that going down next week. So it's possible we could get a little bit of a pullback. But I mean, if we don't see anything out of Syria, I don't see why we wouldn't be continuing the rally.
You did mention about those auto numbers yesterday. Let's just quickly go to the GM chart from yesterday because that was an incredible move for General Motors. Here's yesterday's chart. Stock opened up around 34 and change, just in the low 34 handle, blew through the 34 handle above 35, and then tried to blow through the 36 handle too. So that's the biggest move that GM has had in a long time. You can see on the chart this huge up bar here, obviously. We are coming into a bit of resistance on the GM chart. If we look here, when we get up to this whole 36 area, I can actually see in the book there's about 40,000 shares at 36. That's not enormous for a stock like GM. It can take that out, but you had multiple tops here just above 36. Back on the 13th of August, we topped out at 36.21. On the August 9th, 36.27, and then you have all these little tops: 36.10, 36.11, and 36.10 back on the 12th. So lots of little resistance points here just above 36. So that could equal a little bit of trouble. Ford here too, obviously yesterday had a big lift too, and the same story. It's running into a big hole number at 17. It is trading above there this morning though, so it looks like it's taking it out, trading 180,000 shares. 1708 is where it's trading in the pre-market here. Jake, you think this auto run continues?
I mean, with the way we've seen the Ford increasing its capacity to build the Fusion. I mean, I know that, like, being from Detroit, we're seeing the buzz around the auto industry. They're hiring like crazy. They're really bringing in a whole lot of new talent for all the different operations. I would not be shocked if we see this rally continue. I mean, with that massive sales growth, I mean, you notice. I mean, Alan Mulally specifically said on the call that this is not a freak quarter. That this is the beginning of a trend. I mean, I think finally. We might be seeing the autos, coming for a full recovery here. I know that there was speculation that perhaps this is a new cycle, new refresh cycle for cars that's been just pushed off so long. So perhaps we might be getting a serious rally getting off the ground here.
Yeah, speaking of trends, Ford has been on a nice uptrend actually since July of 2012 when it was just below $9. This stock has come close to doubling, almost up at over $17 now. So they have been on a roll here. When you put it in perspective, obviously back in the mid 2000s, we were quite a bit higher on these stocks, but these are approaching multi-year highs here of both Ford and GM. Obviously, we're a little ways away. GM's 37.71 is where it topped out there, just going back into July. So that would be the target of where I'm looking if you think this bull run's going to continue. Let's look at a couple other stocks in the S&P here, Jake, because Apple had a great move yesterday. Obviously, the news of the iPhone event potentially in China. Do you think that's the reason Apple was popping up to 10 points yesterday?
I mean, it definitely could be. There's a lot of speculation of whether it could be, obviously the China Mobile deal. You also have the speculation over its event on September 11th to release the new products here in the United States, or at least it's assumed to be. I mean, there's just a lot of news around Apple in general. I think it should be interesting to see where that goes, but it's definitely giving it strength. But like I think you've noted, there's a ton of defense around that $500 level. So I think that's going to continue to be a battleground until we see some serious releases.
Yeah, this $500 level has just been incredible for the last 16 trading sessions here. I'm trying to draw a line on my chart here. I'm not that good at it. But I'm trying to draw it right at 500. But you can see here actually, if we just look here, multiple times it got above 500 and then it was bouncing off of it. Then it sold off below 500, found great support at 286 or 486, almost putting in like a triple bottom down there before rallying up obviously yesterday on the news, and then it got above 500 but closed below 500. It is trading above 500 this morning, so it just keeps going back and forth between 500, kind of whipsawing traders that are either playing the breakout or the breakdown through 500, and it just continues to hang out in that area. I've called this trade a magnet trade in the past, where sometimes you'll have a level that becomes so relevant that it just can't seem to break away from it, and that seems to be the situation here with Apple. It just can't get away from the 500 level over the course of the last 15 or 16 trading sessions. Talk about another stock that was moving yesterday, though, was Google. It actually did finally break out. We had talked about support here. We had highlighted this low back from June the 6th at 847.22. The stock had multiple lows here. Tried to take it out, 845.56 on the 30th, but $800 stock, when it takes the level out by $1, it's really hard to say that that's breaking down. And obviously it has continued to move up since then. Yesterday had a great run, Google. Was that just rallying with the overall market there, Jake, or was there something on Google that really was propping it up? Because it was up over $10 yesterday.
I mean, as far as the news goes on Google, I think it was kind of sentiment based. It could be based around. I mean, if Apple's getting into China, it could be a good sign for Google possibly breaking in there. I know there's a report this morning out of All Things D that's saying that Google does not want BlackBerry, which I don't think is shocking. But I mean, that's not given its rally yesterday. But I mean, as far as like hard news, there wasn't exactly a whole lot of that on yesterday's session.
So more of a technical bounce there, probably after making hard support down there near the 850 level. We just kind of bounced out of there and obviously rallied with the overall market, which was up, I think, 14 or 15 points. Let's talk briefly about BlackBerry. You just mentioned it there. It is popping again here this morning. With a few minutes to go in yesterday's trading session, Dow Jones was reporting that the company may be aiming for a rapid sale. Obviously, last time we had rumors like this, the stock popped up over $12. The rumors kind of subsided, and then the stock has found great support down here at $10, made a heavy bottom here, and bounced out of there yesterday on the rumors, closed at $10.75, so closed strong, and now today trading over $10.75 at $11.04. It just ticked up to on 663,000 shares. Do you think there's any truth to these Dow Jones reports here? Do you see anybody potentially, maybe not Google, but anybody else potentially picking this up, Jake? What's your take on it?
I was kind of digging into that this morning, just kind of trying to think of who would be going after them. I guess it depends on the price. I mean, BlackBerry does have a large number of patents. They do still have loyal customers. I think there was some speculation that perhaps that'd be something that Microsoft would pick up and then roll into its Windows 8 operation. But then again, they did just pick up Nokia on Monday.
Yeah.
I was kind of toying with the idea of what happened if they bought Nokia and BlackBerry, kind of sweeping up the failing names in the mobile space and trying to roll them into one giant. But that seems incredibly capital intensive and a huge bet. I'm just not sure they would do that. So beyond Microsoft, I'm just not exactly sure who would go after BlackBerry. Maybe it would be specifically for the patents and some of their talent. But I mean, the price would have to be fantastic if they're just buying it for the patents.
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, the stock does look like it is breaking out, and I like the fact that it is trading over 11. Obviously, would like to see it hold 11 here today and continue to build on yesterday's rally. You know how I love my 2-day move, so we had a good 70-cent pop there yesterday. If you think we can pop again, another 70 cents would put us up there in that 1150 area. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is possible. Couple upgrades, downgrades, some key ones to focus on here this morning. We've got Groupon getting upgraded at Morgan Stanley. Stock is trading up significantly here in the pre-market. It's up 6% actually, trading at $10.95 right now after closing at $10.29. So Groupon getting a nice lift, approaching that 52-week high of $11.22, which we set back on August the 8th.
Yeah, the upgrade there was pretty huge for Groupon. Basically, Morgan Stanley just coming out, bumping it up to that overweight rating. getting really bullish on its North American operations, saying the introduction of its deal bank operation has been a huge boon for the company, and also really focusing on its recent strength in mobile, that they're managing to monetize that pretty successfully. They bumped up their 2014, 2015 estimates, really just getting traders bullish on Groupon. And obviously, once you break through that $10 level, that's a good technical sign. So maybe giving some more strength to the upside specifically because of that. But yeah, this is a great report for Groupon from Morgan Stanley here.
The stock has been on a slow, steady climb ever since bottoming back in November at $2.60. That's a pretty incredible run. I mean, you don't hear much coverage of Groupon in the main media there. But the stock here was $2.60. It's now over almost $11. The thing's almost quadrupled here. So you got to be pretty impressed with this quiet rally here in Groupon over the course of at least 2013. Not sure if it continues or not, but the bogey that I would be looking at is that high that we set back on August the 8th, which is 1122. So that's probably going to be a few sellers there. We'll have to see if it can take that level out. Open Table also getting an upgrade, or actually, I'm sorry, Open Table getting a downgrade here at Morgan Stanley. And Open Table actually this morning is offered down. It hasn't traded here yet, but it is offered down at 74.90 right now. It closed at 76.53. So yesterday's low was 74.72. It does look like it could open below yesterday's low here. This was a chart that actually rallied with yesterday's run up, got as high as 77.04, but now looks like it could open below 75. So you could have a key reversal day here for the bears and open.
Looks like we got those those numbers coming out real quick. Let me just get my feed set up here. One moment, please.
We've got them here. Yeah, the continuing jobs claims for August, 2.95 million versus 2.98 million. It looks like revised down. 2.3 non-farm payroll. You got them there, Jake? I can let you go through it too. You got
Yeah, definitely. Non-farm productivity quarter over quarter is looking at 2.3%, beating that 1.6% expected. Last number there is 0.9%. That's looking strong there too. Continuing jobless claims coming in at 2.95 million versus expected 2.98 million, looking strong there. The prior numbers were revised from 2.99 million to 2.99 million, so not a whole lot of a change there. And initial jobless claims for August coming in at 323.0 thousand versus expected 330,000. And the prior number was revised from 331,000 to 332. So all the reports this month looking pretty strong, although some of those revised reports from last month looking a little worse.
Kind of muted response here in the S&P futures. We just ticked up about $1 on those numbers, but 1654 trading quiet. Obviously, we have the big unemployment numbers tomorrow, and that's really going to be your driver. So, wouldn't surprise me if we do have a little bit more of a quiet day here today ahead of the key economic numbers that will be released there tomorrow. We were just talking briefly about Open Table. I just want to highlight that it is possibly going to open. You can see the offer here at 74.90. There's 900 shares. Nobody's sniffing him. The best bid's down at 73.09. So it does look like it's going to open weaker. I would highlight yesterday's low, 74.72, is possibly a key swing number for that. But the breakout here could become a fake out just because of this downgrade. And if we do take out yesterday's low, which it does indeed look like we're going to do, the bears might grab control of Open Table here today. Zillow here too, Jake. We got a downgrade on Zillow from Morgan Stanley. Zillow has been marching. The stock actually closed over $100 yesterday, but is pulling back $2.50 here this morning, trading at 97.91. Morgan Stanley kind of fading the breakout through 100 here. What's your take on that one?
I know the report itself specifically just dropped it to an underweight rating. Just saying that they're concerned about oversaturation of its product, saying that they may not have a whole lot more room to run in the near term at least. So Morgan Stanley trying to kind of hit the brakes on this one. Looks like they're trying to move people over more to the Groupons, because they're also downgrading Open Table there as well. So it was just kind of a basic report saying that they think it's a little bit of oversaturation. Looks like it's a little overvalued. They're expecting it to pull back a little bit.
Just a couple others I wanted to go and highlight here. Actually, Walgreens just reported their Q4 sales here, and the numbers were 17.95. I thought estimates were supposed to be up at 18, but the stock is actually rallying on this. Walgreens here trading over $50 this morning, close to 49.49. WAG is the ticker. Is now at 50.06 bid up there. I do see some significant size of $50 in the book, and that liquidity becomes active right at 9:30 when we open. So it'll be interesting to see if it can indeed open over $50. It looks like it may, though. It's only traded 10,000 shares here, but is now bid at 50.08. So somebody's pretty excited on this Walgreens report there, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely catching a bid there and bouncing off those lows. So it should be interesting to see what Walgreens does today. These drugstore stocks have really been bouncing all over the place. So be interested to see where it goes. But I think that $50 level is probably going to hold.
Yeah, $50 is a key level there. I'm just looking up if it really goes into rally mode. Wow, I'm looking up here at this 51.20 area, and that's a long ways away from here. But if it was to take off another dollar, there's a lot of resistance up there just above the 51 handle. We did top out back on the 14th of August at 50.94, just below 51, but looking in July, multiple highs right up in the low 51s at 51.26, 51.25, 51.22, 51.25, 51.15. So resistance very well defined, a dollar higher than here. I'm not sure if it has enough gas to get up there though, but if it does, I'd imagine there'd be a few people willing to take some stock off. Just talking briefly here, J.C. Penney, we haven't talked about it for a couple days. Actually, I think we did mention it yesterday with the hedge funds accumulating the stock. The stock actually got a good pop yesterday. It's funny, Ackman sells, and now the stock's starting to get some interest. Trading up at 13.63 here in the pre-market, so it is rallying another 13 cents here today. But it was a big breakout day for J.C. Penney yesterday. Took out 13, closed significantly above it, and it's looking a little bit better on the technicals here all of a sudden.
Yeah, for once, JCPenney's getting some strength. I was actually just talking to one of our other guys. I was on my way to recruit yesterday, and we were in the car, and we were just talking about how Ackman gets out, and it looks like two hedge fund managers just come in, sweep his stock up at around, looks like right around 1290, and then just rockets right back up to basically where Ackman got out. I feel like he just got killed there. Is it going to get back into the 20s? I don't know, yeah. But a buy at 1290 seems like a pretty decent price, especially since you've seen some serious support there. But should be interesting to see where this goes. Are they going to be going for a buyout? What are they going to be going for?
The business model is, it seems to be broken. When I go in those J.C. Penney stores, they almost seem like, they're a ghost town there. So, obviously they need some help there from a fundamental perspective. But from a technical perspective, you do have a low. We always say you can put any trade on as long as you know where your out is. 12.12 was the low set just 3 days ago on August the 30th. If you're chasing the stock here, you got a little ways to go before you'd hit that out at 12.12. Obviously, the stock breaks down to new lows, then all bets are off. But it has bounced back. We did have Ackman getting out of it, dumping stock. You did have three large hedge funds accumulating positions there yesterday. So in the short term here, it looks like there's some interest in J.C. Penney. Long term, I still think it's sketchy, but short term, there's some interest. So I don't know if it can get up here and take out 14 today. There was a few highs just around the 14 level, so that's probably the next major resistance point. Just briefly here, we're starting to run low on time. I want to highlight a couple of stocks. Actually, LinkedIn we should talk about. I don't think we talked about it yet. I had it written down. LinkedIn actually did price out their secondary here. Raised it up a little bit too. 5.38 million shares priced at $223. So that's actually pretty significantly below where the stock is currently trading up here at $235.49. Sometimes these high-flying momentum stocks, I always say those levels can act as support. Those secondary offering prices $223. That's a ways away from here, $13 from where it's currently trading. I don't know if it gets down there just because there's so much interest in the stock. It seems like every time it pulls back, you got shorts covering and new people buying the stock. The momentum has just been incredible here in LinkedIn ever since June when it was down at $160. So it's traded 300,000 shares here. What's your take on the secondary there, Jake?
I think it's interesting they priced the secondary as far below its current price as they did, but it's really not reacting nearly as much as I expected.
Yeah.
When you're pricing 7% below its close price yesterday, and the last time I looked, it was down not even 2%. It's not getting the kind of drop I expected. I think traders are just still incredibly bullish on this name. I mean, it's one of the few social media stocks that's just been showing just massive strength. I mean, look at that since June, it's gone from was it June of 12, it's gone up from $160 to 200, like almost 40 right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge rally. It's one of the few stocks out there or one of the social media names out there. It's just been managing to monetize every part of its business as a fantastic product. I know the some of the fundamentals look kind of crazy on it, but I mean, it's showing continuous revenue growth and bottom line growth. So, I think traders are just too bullish to let it really let it fall down.
Yeah, I mean, some of these stocks, they have the high multiples, and it just doesn't seem to matter. Like we've talked about Amazon over the course of the last year or so, and obviously it just continues to hold up despite a high multiple. Facebook's multiple is very high, but that stock continues to show a lot of strength here. LinkedIn, so it's hard if you're sitting there from a valuation perspective. You probably don't want to touch something like this, but if you're a momentum trader, and this market is momentum market, you can't argue with it. So. The momentum has been there. It's looking a little bit heavy here on the charts just because of the couple days with the secondary coming out obviously yesterday and the pricing of it today. But regardless, the momentum in the last year, you can't argue with that in LinkedIn. Overall market thoughts here. We are drifting up to the high 1655.50. We are up 2 points now. So kind of a quiet session, but we are drifting towards the high here. Jake, what do you think's in store today for the overall market?
I mean, like I said, I think it really has to do with if we get any headlines on Syria. I think volumes are going to be pretty light with the Jewish holiday, especially since we're
Right.
going into the jobs numbers tomorrow. I think there's going to be a lot of desks out there that just want to keep their powder dry. I mean, there's a lot of variables out there. It's tough to predict where we're going to be going. I think that maybe if we get some serious headlines out there on Syria, that might be causing some action. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a really quiet day. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier with that one.
Serious headlines on Syria could be the deal today if they come out. That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back at you tomorrow.